Rusame reader, Kurosong! And today I will be reading to you from Stars and Moonflowers in Our Garden by Rainbow Star _772. That's me! Now, on to Chapter 43, Letters and Lost in Thought. Russia pouted a bit as he left America's office. He then headed to his room. He grabbed a piece of paper, quickly wrote a small letter telling America where to meet him and the time. He was excited, but also nervous about how tomorrow would go. He folded the paper and put it into the prepared envelope. He then quickly made his way to the camomiles, found that there was already a letter there, and it was in a casing. He gently picked it up and got the letter from America out. He then put his letter in the casing, as the leaves and petals were still wet. He then walked off to his next class, holding the letter from America. On his way, he sneezed a couple times, but he got to class pretty quickly. When he got into the classroom, he took a seat and opened the letter. He started to excitedly read through it, smiling happily as he did. Dear Neeks, yep, you are far closer to meeting me. Well, I don't think you have anything to worry about when it comes to meeting me. I doubt your identity will change how I feel about you. I'd like to give you a hug when we meet up knowingly. Have a little more confidence in yourself. Yeah, that'd be the crow. Samuel has decided that Prince Russia is his second father. Hence, Papa. It is very flustering to me personally. I've noted why in previous letters. And yes, I have seen people do it just to screw with someone, which is what makes me feel doubt. So, personally, I don't know anymore. Well, at least your cat is well behaved. I wish Bean was, but alas, he isn't. Also, you're correct about someone being on opium poppies being a bad thing. And I hope you never have to see it. I don't know much about the history of the sealing away of Kaleon magic, but from what I've heard, it's complicated. It's a subject I'd love to delve into and study when I retire. Also, I'm glad you think positively of my eyes. I haven't heard many say anything positive about them outside of friends and family and some of the people here. So the sentiment is new and flustering to me. And people find them creepy, call them natural. So hearing that someone finds them otherwise is, I don't know. And that'll be fun. I would like to spend some time with you and look into that. Well, neither are right, but often what I am considered is the opposite of one of your guesses. Sincerely, Aku. Russia frowned a little, finding out that compliments about his eyes were new to America. He'd have to make sure that America knew that he found them beautiful. He smiled and let out a sigh, knowing that the letter gave him a perfect out to have made his letter what it was. America had given him quite the large hint, but he didn't mind, especially since it'd conceal his identity for just that little bit longer. He feared he was in the final stretch of what time that America was willing to be near him. So he was happy he'd gotten to pick America up. He hoped America would stay true to his word of not judging. He knew America had a good track record of keeping promises, but he worried that this might be different. America admitted to finding you attractive, Russia reminded himself, getting himself to relax. America keeps his promises, and they's been fond of me in person and through the letters. Hell, he might even... No, stop it. Don't hope too much. He probably doesn't feel that way. He snapped himself out of the train of thought. America probably had no romantic interest in him. Though that hadn't stopped him from fantasizing, he reminded himself. He could do well to have a little hope. Maybe America would allow him to hold him again or cuddle him. He couldn't help but wonder if America had any markings on his body, like freckles or stripes of color. God, if America had freckles, he doubted he'd ever be able to stop touching, tracing, and kissing them. If he did. He'd have to ask America when they met, and if he did, he'd have to contain himself. He was more than happy with what he already had, in that he was close to America. He snapped away from these thoughts when he heard the door open behind him. When he heard his teacher introduce the topic, he internally groaned. 2 topics he'd had talked to death to him in a row. This time it was literature, and he'd already read in the library and found it boring. But the way the teacher was talking had promised him a lecture, which he wasn't exactly interested in. He'd be able to push through it and listen. He was dead wrong. His thoughts wandered, and he'd found himself slowly delving into daydreams about America. Daydreams about innocent I love yous, cuddling, holding, kisses, and just overall love and affection. He'd even daydreamed about dancing with him and spinning him into a kiss. As soon as the lecture was over, he was snapped out of his thoughts by the closing of the book. He folded the letter, putting it in the envelope, and then headed back to his room. He dropped off the letter excitedly and then headed to his dancing classes. His little daydreaming about dancing with America had invigorated him. With that class, he was energized when he started and ended, when usually he was, admittedly, a little tired. But since he wasn't at the moment, he decided that he'd spend more time with America, while he had the chance. He sneezed again on his way to America's office. He really wasn't sure what was up with him sneezing today, but he shrugged it off and continued towards America's office. Once he was there, he carefully opened the door, now understanding why America knew he was coming whenever he was. He hoped America would let him see him in a half-shift form, as he was convinced America would be adorable. But he wouldn't push it, though he would ask at some point after his little reveal. He snapped out of his thoughts when he heard America ask if he was okay. He flushed a little out of embarrassment. Usually he was a bit better about keeping his thoughts from wandering, but today was a really off day for him, he supposed. And that's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.